Hello, my name is Danny and I'm just going to do a follow-up video from some videos I made 2 years ago regarding me falling ill with postpartum psychosis. I made those videos to create awareness and as a little sounding board for myself really as well, to see where I was at. And it's crazy looking back at them because I realised that I was still very ill when I made the videos, and I was still suffering from maternal OCD. I was still suffering from PTSD and the whole aftermath of going through the psychosis, and obviously with postnatal depression as well. So 2 years on since I was diagnosed, I think I'm doing quite well actually, in the whole grand scheme of things. You know, I'm plodding along. Howell is now 2 and 4 months, which is crazy to me. He's growing up to be a lovely little boy and I'm so lucky to have him. Our bond is really strong and unbreakable now, and I love that boy unconditionally forever. So I haven't had any negative thoughts about him for a really long time, which is the biggest thing I had to overcome. So with regards to where I am at, last time I posted a video, I was still technically on maternity leave from my job as a independent domestic abuse advisor. I unfortunately was dismissed from my role from the domestic abuse charity I worked for. It was the right thing to do, I think. I couldn't go back there. It was surrounded by too much trauma. And when I received therapy, we established that my hallucinations I was having when I was really ill was very much linked to my job. I was obviously, if you've read about my story or if you watch my videos, I was hallucinating Howell being beaten up and dead basically. And that stems from where I work. That's where I worked. That's where I believe anyway. Because I worked with children who had experienced that stuff, and it was very much the right decision for me not to go back there. So I spent time as a stay-at-home mum for a while, which I really was starting to enjoy lots. But I went back to work and I now work in a shop. I was so nervous starting. I would shake like serving people at the till. I was that nervous, you know, and I was really, really scared. And there's parts of me now that still get a bit anxious, panicky in some situations. But I'm getting better every single day at it. And is making my confidence grow loads going back to work. I didn't think it would be. I was so nervous leaving the baby, and I didn't want to leave him. But it's actually worked out best for all of us, I think. I'm still on medication. I'm still on the antipsychotic medication, which I'll be being put off in the next few weeks, which I'm really looking forward to. I spoke to another mum who experienced postpartum psychosis, and she said when she got put off her antipsychotic medications, she just blossomed, and I'm looking forward to it. I am scared at the same time. I don't want to go backwards, but I don't think I will. I think that I'm definitely ready to stop taking those antipsychotic medications. I'm still on antidepressants, which I will be on for the foreseeable future, which I don't mind. They enable me to be me, and without them, you know, I wouldn't be able to get up in the morning. They're very vital, I know they are. I've been taken off my anti-anxiety medication, and it's been fine. I haven't had many hiccups with regards to anxiety. I still feel panicky sometimes, and in the car, I had such a big phobia of being in cars. I'm still a bit jittery, but I'm driving again, which is crazy to me. When I first got ill, the journey going back home from London to South Wales, my partner had to do 50 behind a lorry for most of it because I was just screaming and everything was heightened and I just thought we were going to crash. I think my PTSD really kicked in at that point, and I was terrified of being in cars. But I've persevered, and now I'm driving again. Only short journeys, like to and from work, and little, going to the shop and stuff like that. But I'm trying to get braver and braver as time goes on with it. With regards to what I do in my spare time, I go to art class now. Those who know about my story know that I had really big, massive breakthroughs through art psychotherapy in hospital. Basically, art psychotherapy, I just would go in the room with the other women, with the other mothers who were suffering from psychosis. And we would sit down and we were given by this amazing art psychotherapist. She really was amazing. She could look into my soul. She was that amazing. She would give us pieces of paper and art materials, and we would just literally just express how we were feeling at that moment. And I had no idea how much things would come up and how much opportunity there was to express how I was, what I couldn't say really to other people. Well, now I wanted to continue art, so I actually go to an art class once a week, and I've met so many friends there who are so compassionate and really understand. And I find painting is a big, massive escape, but also another opportunity for me to have an outlet to still express what happened. I love going every single week to that class, and yeah, so that's a really big positive thing in my life at the moment. So the biggest downfall of what has happened is that my relationship with food has changed a lot. Those of you know that when I first got ill, I actually starved myself for a month. I would only eat a couple of mouthfuls a day, literally 1 or 2 mouthfuls a day. I don't know how I was coping at all. My energy was so low. I was feeling faint all the time. I went from a size 18, having just given birth, to a size 12 in a month, and I had lost a lot of weight, and not in a good way at all. It was torture. I was torturing myself. I felt like I could hear a voice. I could literally hear a voice saying that I didn't deserve food, I didn't deserve pleasure, because I couldn't take care of my son properly. And it was a really hard time for me with regards to food and eating. I would find eating a bowl of food the hardest thing in the world. Since then, though, I've sort of done a 180. I did a video about weight gain, 2 years ago, but that is still a factor. Food is I believe now that I've got an eating disorder. I haven't been diagnosed, but that's what I feel in my head, because my relationship is an act of self-harm if you overeat or undereat, and as if food becomes your vice, a way of escaping, that's when it's dangerous. My partner, we're still going strong, we're still together, and we've been through the ringer, and I don't think people know just how much strain is put on a relationship when you go through what we've gone through, and to actually make it out and I said before, you know, that I feel like I've been spat out of this illness. I've got to try and build myself up, not to the person that I was, but the person that I want to become following the illness. And my partner was so there for me and so loving throughout all of it. I'm so lucky to have him. But we did take a bashing, but now we've got to a point where we're now talking about our hopes and dreams for the future, and we're getting there, and I think that it can turn into something that has made us stronger as a couple, rather than break us apart. He's a brilliant dad and a brilliant person to be with, just because he's so understanding of what's happened, and he was there for me, and I really owe him, because I've got a newfound respect for dads who go through trying to support women who are going through postpartum psychosis, and who do it well, because it is such a hard time for them as well. They, you know, being around someone who's depressed and who's psychotic, it can transfer onto you. And life is messy, and there comes to points where you don't know what the future holds, and negative things happen, grief happens, loss happens, crisis happens. Those are the biggest lessons I've learned throughout all of this. The most important being that I love my son, and I love my family, and I'm grateful for every day I get, because I came really close to not being here, which I now find quite sad, which is a positive thing. You know, I want to live, I want to be here. I'm no longer fighting any urges to harm myself, and I can just breathe better, which is great. So I hope that you find this video useful. Again, a bit of a disclaimer: if you know a woman who's going through this, or if you feel you're going through postpartum psychosis, it's an emergency. You need to get help straight away. Even if it's going down to A&E, you need to go and get help as soon as possible, because the longer you leave it, the worse it gets. And if you receive help, if you take medication, you will get better, and you've got to fight, but you will get better, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You can make it. You just got to keep on going.